Ashley felt like she was living a completely different life since she married Ryan. Ryan was the ideal husband with good looks and a successful career. But he became cold and controlling after marriage. His family was also strict towards Ashley, especially his mother Diane, who was incredibly harsh on her. Diane expected Ashley to perfectly handle all the household chores and support Ryan as a matter of course. Whenever Ashley slackened or made a mistake, Diane would scold her immediately. Every day, Ashley was desperate to balance housework and her work from home. But meeting Diane's endless demands was not easy. Diane would often find excuses to summon Ashley home to clean or shop in her stead. Even when Ashley was busy, Diane did not care and would command her with an attitude as if it was only natural. Because she was the daughter-in-law. Ashley grew physically and emotionally exhausted, enduring Diane's sarcasm and verbal abuse daily. One day, Ashley went out with a friend and bought some snacks as a gift, hoping to improve Diane's mood slightly. However, Diane scowled upon seeing the snacks and scolded Ashley, saying, "Who would eat such cheap stuff?" Diane then threw the snacks in the trash right in front of Ashley and remarked, "Poor people can't even understand quality." This incident left a deep wound in Ashley's heart, and she shed tears of anger and sadness. Despite witnessing these situations, Ryan did not help Ashley. Instead, he sometimes agreed with Diane's words, showing no understanding of Ashley's feelings. Ryan told Ashley, "You should be grateful to my parents," completely disregarding her struggles. Ashley's dissatisfaction with Ryan gradually grew. Life at her in-laws' home was unbearably harsh, and Ashley often complained to Ryan when she returned home. However, Ryan would coldly respond, "It's your fault for being born into a poor family." Ashley strongly felt isolated within the family and began to look for an opportunity for revenge. Ashley continued to be frequently summoned by Diane. One day, close to a work deadline, Ashley hesitated to respond to Diane's call. However, Diane yelled hysterically over the phone, "Come over right now, as you are the daughter-in-law." Ashley had no choice but to head to her in-laws' home. Upon arrival, Diane accused her, "You just stay home under the pretense of working." Diane continued to make sarcastic remarks. Ashley was hurt by Diane's words but tried desperately to endure. Diane was never satisfied no matter how hard Ashley tried, always finding faults and blaming her. Meanwhile, Ryan's father also treated Ashley coldly. He agreed with Diane, constantly criticizing Ashley for not being more efficient in her chores and shopping. Ryan, too, did not argue against his parents' words but rather seemed to support them. Ashley increasingly felt isolated within the family. Diane would criticize her even for the smallest mistakes, saying, "It was a mistake to let Ryan marry such a poor person." In her heart, Ashley vowed, "Someday, I will change this situation." One day, while cleaning at her in-laws' home on Diane's orders, Ashley overheard Diane talking on the phone with a friend in the living room. "Ashley is such an incompetent daughter-in-law. I feel sorry for Ryan." Overwhelmed with anger and sadness, Ashley told Ryan that evening, "I'm at my limit," but Ryan coldly replied, "You just have to endure it." Gradually, Ashley began to contemplate retaliating against her mother-in-law, Diane, and father-in-law. She became determined to change her situation with her own strength, and to show them that she could stand up for herself. Ashley felt the tension with Diane intensifying day by day. No matter how hard she tried, Diane was never satisfied and constantly criticized Ashley, pointing out her flaws and making snide remarks. even when Ashley was busy with her work-from-home responsibilities. Diane took no consideration, frequently burdening her with household chores and shopping. Despite her efforts to balance both work and home duties, Diane never acknowledged her hard work. One day, after being summoned to her in-laws' home, Diane commanded Ashley as soon as she arrived, "Today, you're going to clean the entire house." Internally sighing, Ashley complied with Diane's order. However, as she started cleaning, Diane sat watching TV, remarking, "You're so slow, you can't even do household chores properly." While enduring Diane's harsh words, Ashley resolved internally, "Someday, I will change this situation." She did not talk back to Diane but continued cleaning silently, her heart filling with anger and sadness. In the evening, as Ashley was preparing to leave after finishing the cleaning, Diane issued another command, "Since you're already out, go do some shopping too. Here's the list." Exhausted, Ashley had no choice but to accept the shopping list and head to the supermarket. After completing the shopping and returning to her in-laws' home, Diane inspected each item Ashley had bought and criticized again. "Why did you buy these things? Choose better quality next time." Ashley bore the brunt of Diane's words while her anger simmered within. That night, when Ashley returned home, she expressed her frustrations about Diane's behavior to her husband, Ryan. However, Ryan coldly replied, "Maybe what my mother says has some merit." Deeply hurt by Ryan's indifferent attitude, Ashley felt increasingly isolated within the family. Realizing that a confrontation with Diane was inevitable, Ashley began to explore ways to change her situation using her own strength. She started planning her retaliation against Diane, waiting for an opportunity to enact her revenge. With a strong resolve growing within her, Ashley prepared herself to stand up against Diane in their escalating conflict. One day, when Ashley reached her limit of anger and sadness towards her mother-in-law Diane, a decisive incident occurred. Ashley's frustrations with Diane exploded at her in-laws' home, and she made a strong appeal to Ryan. "Why does your mother say such terrible things to me? I'm working so hard, but she never acknowledges it." Tearfully pleading, Ryan coldly replied, "It's your fault for being born poor. It's natural for the rich to look down on the poor." Ryan's words deeply wounded Ashley, and she was left speechless. Realizing that Ryan truly believed those words, Ashley's trust and affection for him crumbled instantly. She firmly decided in her heart, "I no longer need to endure this family." That night, Ashley reflected on her life and seriously considered her next steps. Unable to bear feeling powerless against Diane and Ryan any longer, she decided to take action. Ashley resolved to change her situation with her own strength and to prove them wrong. First, Ashley aimed to become financially independent through her own efforts. She further enhanced her work from home, sparing no effort to improve her skills. She worked late into the night and gradually, but surely, began to see results. Ashley started to regain her confidence as she saw the fruits of her labor. Simultaneously, Ashley prepared to confront Diane and Ryan directly. She vowed in her heart, "I will never yield to them again," and waited for an opportunity for revenge. Ashley transformed her anger and sadness into strength, resolute in her fight to reclaim her life. Ashley fostered a strong will and determination that supported her. She committed to taking steps forward to carve out her future and continued her daily efforts, believing in the day she would exact revenge on Diane and Ryan. While outwardly appearing as a compliant daughter-in-law to avoid direct conflict with them, Ashley harbored anger and a desire for revenge in her heart. secretly planning for the day she could change her situation. One day, Diane summoned her again. Ashley's father-in-law's company had landed a significant deal, and she was asked to come over to the in-laws' home to celebrate. Feeling that this summons was different from the usual, Ashley went to the in-laws' home with Ryan, sensing that something might change today. Upon arrival, Diane greeted Ashley cheerfully, a departure from her usual demeanor, saying, "Today we celebrate a big deal, it's a special day," and had prepared a lavish meal. Diane's attitude was different, treating Ashley kindly, but Ashley saw through the pretense. At the dining table, Diane remarked, "Ashley, maybe now you'll become a daughter-in-law worthy of this family." These words reignited unpleasant feelings in Ashley. While internally suppressing her anger, she responded with a smile outwardly. After the meal, while relaxing in the living room, Diane suddenly asked Ashley, "For today's celebration, you'll do something special too, right?" Caught off guard but quickly regaining her composure, Ashley asked, "Of course. What would you like me to do?" Diane grinned and ordered, "You will clean this house thoroughly." Suppressing her anger, Ashley decided to follow Diane's command. She cleaned every corner of the house, striving to meet Diane's demands. However, Diane did not appreciate Ashley's effort, continuing to make snide remarks. "Still not good enough. Do it better." That night, exhausted, Ashley returned home. She appealed again to Ryan about Diane's attitude, but Ryan coldly replied, "My mother expects a lot from you. If you can't meet those expectations, it's because you're not trying hard enough." Disappointed once more by Ryan's words, Ashley deeply felt her isolation within the family. Ashley resolved, "I will no longer endure this." She became determined to change her situation with her own strength, and to prove Diane and Ryan wrong. While continuing to appear obedient, Ashley began planning her revenge. Ashley committed to moving forward step by step to reclaim her life, believing in the day she would exact revenge on Diane and Ryan. A strong will and determination grew within her, supporting her as she continued her daily efforts. Ashley had endured her mother-in-law Diane's verbal abuses for a long time, but internally, a desire for revenge had begun to grow. No matter how hard Ashley tried, Diane was never satisfied, always belittling her and making sarcastic remarks. Each time, Ashley silently vowed, "Someday, I will change this situation." And she began to devise a plan to stand up to Diane using her own strength. A strong will and determination had taken root in Ashley's heart. She was committed to forging her own future, step by step, believing that the day would come when she could exact her revenge on Diane and Ryan. One day, as Ashley was cleaning the house under Diane's orders, her father-in-law rushed toward the entrance in a fluster. The doorbell rang, and he greeted the visitor in a state of disarray. Ashley continued her cleaning but was distracted by the commotion. The person at the door was George, Ashley's biological father. George was a successful president of a major corporation abroad, and Ashley had been influenced by him since her childhood. Although George had been busy and rarely saw Ashley after her marriage, his visit this time was an unexpected surprise for her. Diane and Ryan were shocked by George's appearance, turning pale. They had assumed Ashley came from a poor family and had never imagined that George was her father. George entered the living room and smiled warmly at Ashley, saying, "It's been a while, Ashley." Surprised by her father's sudden visit, Ashley felt a great sense of relief internally. Her father's presence became a significant support for her, reminding her of the difficult days she had endured while also filling her with hope for the future. Diane and Ryan, realizing that Ashley's father was a corporate president, displayed expressions of shock and confusion. George took Ashley's hand and led her to sit in the living room. He greeted her in-laws politely but with a steady gaze that held a calm intensity. "Thank you for your hospitality. I am George, Ashley's father. I was in the area for business. But I also took this opportunity to see how my daughter is doing," he explained. This intervention by George marked a turning point, providing Ashley with a newfound sense of empowerment, and possibly altering the dynamics within her in-laws' household. With her father's support, Ashley could now confront her in-laws from a position of strength, reshaping her future and asserting her independence. In a tense atmosphere, Ashley's in-laws and Ryan struggled to respond to her father George, who had unexpectedly shown up as the successful overseas business magnate they were unaware he was. They believed Ashley came from a poor family, so George's presence left them visibly unsettled. George began by calmly inquiring about how his daughter had been treated. "Can you please tell me how my daughter has been doing here?" The in-laws, flustered, chose their words carefully. "Ashley has been a great help around the house. We really appreciate it," Diane answered, her voice tinged with unease. George, noticing their discomfort, pressed further. "I would like to know more about how she's been treated." Ashley, witnessing her in-laws' discomfort, was flooded with memories of the hardships she had endured. She decided to be honest with George about the harassment and cold treatment from Diane and Ryan. "Dad, it's been really tough for me here. Diane criticizes me daily, and Ryan has been distant and cold," Ashley shared, her voice breaking with emotion. George's expression hardened as he listened to Ashley's account. He then addressed the in-laws and Ryan with a calm yet stern tone. "I was unaware of the extent of my daughter's suffering. Can you elaborate on how you've treated her?" Caught off guard, Diane, the father-in-law, and Ryan were at a loss for words, their silence speaking volumes. Encouraged by her father's support, Ashley's resolve to retaliate against Diane and Ryan grew stronger. She prepared to take the first steps toward carving out a new future with her father's help. The stage was set for Ashley's counterattack. Seated in the living room with George, Diane, Ryan, and her father-in-law, Ashley felt a firm resolve. Sensing it was time to reveal the truth she had kept hidden, she took a deep breath and began. "Dad, I've reached my limit with Diane and Ryan's behavior. Your arrival today is a huge relief. I've been silent for too long, but I can't bear it anymore. I'm ready to reveal my true self." The in-laws and Ryan were taken aback by her words. Ashley continued. "Actually, my father is George, a president of a major company abroad. I grew up as his daughter, and our family holds significant assets. I chose to live a normal life without flaunting this, but I no longer feel the need to hide." Diane muttered in disbelief, "I can't believe this." However, when George affirmed, "This is the truth. Ashley is my daughter, and I'm aware of how much she has suffered here," the in-laws and Ryan were rendered speechless. Ashley went on, "I will no longer tolerate harassment from Diane and Ryan. From now on, I will forge a new life with my own efforts, with my father's support." George concluded, "I understand the pain my daughter has endured here. From now on, I will protect her. I would like you, Diane, Ryan, and my father-in-law, to reconsider how you treat her." Overwhelmed by Ashley's words and George's presence, the in-laws and Ryan were silent. Ashley felt a weight lifting from her shoulders, ready to start anew. George's intervention marked a turning point in Ashley's life. With renewed hope and determination, she prepared to move forward. Her fight had just begun, and she vowed to stand up to Diane and Ryan with her newfound strength. Ashley, with the help of her father, had made her position clear, which seemed to give her a temporary advantage. However, her in-laws and Ryan did not accept this quietly. Their behavior worsened, and the harassment against Ashley escalated. Upon learning Ashley's true background, Diane felt panicked and became even harsher towards her. The father-in-law, aware of Ashley's father George's stature, began to treat Ashley coldly and ignored her more frequently. Ryan, fueled by feelings of inferiority and anger towards Ashley, induced a Cold War situation within the household, pushing Ashley to a mental breaking point. As the harassment at her in-laws' home intensified, Ashley began to consider further measures to protect herself. She started to devise a specific plan for revenge. Ashley consulted with her father, and George promised to support his daughter fully in her efforts. Determined to protect herself, Ashley began to meticulously record any harassment, using her phone to capture audio and video evidence. She also documented every command and sarcastic comment from Diane in a diary. Consulting with legal experts, Ashley explored taking legal action against Diane and Ryan, gathering evidence for potential lawsuits. Meanwhile, she enhanced her work-from-home business and continued her education, bolstered by George's advice and unwavering support. Ashley was committed to breaking free from her past and forging a path toward a brighter future. Despite Diane and Ryan becoming aware of Ashley's plans for revenge, they escalated their harassment against her. Diane continued to verbally abuse Ashley, and Ryan intensified the domestic harassment. Nevertheless, Ashley maintained her resolve, even under extreme mental pressure. One day, when Ashley returned from work, she caught Diane rummaging through her room, discovering her diary and recording devices. Enraged, Diane confronted her, shouting, "What are you planning to do with all these?" Ashley responded calmly, "These are evidence of everything you have done to me. I'm done enduring. I will take legal action." Diane was momentarily lost for words, but then furiously yelled, "Doing this is pointless. We are family, and you can't do anything." However, Ashley stood firm and retorted, "Being family does not excuse this behavior." She then left the room. From that day, Ashley pursued legal actions against Diane and Ryan with even greater determination. She met frequently with her lawyer, organizing the evidence of harassment to submit. Ashley also prepared to start a new life with her father's help. Although Diane and Ryan's harassment persisted, Ashley continued to fight to uphold her resolve. She moved forward step by step to reclaim her future. The day to execute Ashley's plan of revenge was approaching. She prepared to retaliate against Diane and Ryan for their past mistreatment, readying herself for the final confrontation. A strong will and determination supported Ashley as she prepared to take the last step to carve out her future. Legal actions were initiated against Diane and Ryan because of Ashley's decisions and actions. However, Ashley also faced significant sacrifices in this process. The conflict within the family deepened as Diane and Ryan vehemently opposed her actions. One day, Ashley came home to find her house vandalized. Diane and Ryan had destroyed her personal belongings and intruded into her personal space without permission. Despite feeling nearly broken by the sight, Ashley reminded herself that she could not give up. Ashley consulted with her lawyer and applied for a restraining order to ensure her safety at home. This temporarily prohibited Diane and Ryan from approaching her. securing her physical safety. However, the emotional toll was severe, and Ashley felt overwhelmed by loneliness and despair. With her father's assistance, Ashley found a new place to live and began preparing to move. She decided to abandon her previous life and start anew in a new environment. Ashley severed ties with Diane and Ryan, readying herself to independently shape her future. On moving day, Ashley tearfully embraced the hope and determination for her new life. She vowed to overcome her painful past and stand strong on her own. As she started her life in the new residence, Ashley continued her work from home and began preparations to launch her own business. Living in a new environment was a significant challenge for Ashley. But she was determined to move forward step by step toward her future. She spared no effort in achieving independence both financially and emotionally, exploring new business ideas and continuing her personal growth. Meanwhile, Diane and Ryan were disoriented by Ashley's absence, feeling the impact of her no longer being part of their lives. Ryan, in particular, was tormented by guilt and regret. After Ashley's departure, he realized the extent of the harm his actions had caused and sought an opportunity to apologize. While focused on her new life, Ashley occasionally found her thoughts drifting to the past, causing her emotions to waver. However, she continued her efforts to carve out her future without being trapped by her past. Ashley dedicated herself fully to her new business, determined to achieve success on her own terms. Ashley's efforts gradually began to bear fruit. Her business grew, and she achieved a stable financial life, regaining confidence and enjoying her new life. Ashley's new life was filled with challenges but also great hope and possibilities. She was confident in her ability to forge her own future and pursued new goals. Having learned from her difficult experiences, Ashley vowed to continue working hard to make her life better. After Ashley started her new life, the lives of her in-laws and Ryan rapidly deteriorated. The company run by her father-in-law suffered greatly after losing a deal with George, Ashley's father. The business's condition worsened, debts accumulated, and they faced the brink of bankruptcy. Diane, frustrated by life without Ashley, became increasingly harsh toward Ryan. She vented her anger and jealousy at Ryan, further souring the home atmosphere. Ryan felt profound loneliness and regret, becoming mentally cornered. One day, the bankruptcy of the company was officially declared. Diane and Ryan lost their home and were burdened with significant debt. They were forced to sell their assets and move to a cheaper apartment. Diane became mentally unstable due to the loss of her luxurious lifestyle, and her aggressive behavior toward Ryan escalated. Despairing over the consequences of his actions, Ryan felt a strong desire to apologize to Ashley. He attempted to contact her multiple times, but Ashley ignored all his attempts. She was focused on her new life, not looking back. Ashley poured her efforts into her business, striving to achieve success. She discarded any feelings of revenge against her in-laws and Ryan, focusing solely on building her future. Her business thrived, and she lived an independent, financially and emotionally stable life. Meanwhile, the lives of Ashley's in-laws and Ryan became increasingly difficult. Ashley's father-in-law fell ill, and her mother-in-law suffered from mental health issues. Despite his efforts working day and night, Ryan couldn't make enough to cover their debts, and their living conditions became dire. Knowing their situation, Ashley chose not to reach out to them. She had resolved to cut ties with her past to protect her own life. Ashley was committed to succeeding on her own and focused all her energy on her new life. As they struggled with the consequences of their actions, Ashley's in-laws and Ryan began to feel remorse. They wrote letters apologizing for their past behavior and sought reconciliation. However, Ashley chose not to accept their apologies. She decided to move forward without being held back by the past. While Ashley's new life progressed smoothly, her in-laws and Ryan endured difficult days. They became increasingly aware of their mistakes as they saw Ashley's success. They continued to seek apology and reconciliation. But Ashley did not accept their efforts and continued on her own path. Persistent attempts by Diane and Ryan to contact her led Ashley to finally decide to confront them one last time. One day, Ashley visited her in-laws' home with her lawyer to propose a final discussion. Upon their arrival, her in-laws and Ryan, surprised and tense, received them. Ashley began the conversation with composure. "I've come here for a final talk. I want all harassment and contact to stop. Our relationship has ended. Continuing this conflict is pointless." Diane, tearfully, pleaded, "Ashley, we truly are sorry. We want to apologize for our actions. Please give us another chance." However, Ashley remained firm. "No apology can undo the suffering I endured. To reclaim my life, I must completely sever ties with you." Ryan also pleaded, "Ashley, we were wrong. I sincerely apologize for hurting you. Isn't there any way we can start over?" Ashley shook her head. "Ryan, I no longer want anything to do with you. My life is my own now. I will live for myself." The lawyer confirmed Ashley's wishes and presented legal documents to her in-laws and Ryan. "This is a restraining order. Any further contact with Ashley is prohibited. Violations will result in legal action." Shocked, they had no choice but to sign the documents. After the documents were signed, Ashley gave her in-laws and Ryan one last look. "This is the end. Meeting you has made me stronger. Now, I will carve out my future. Goodbye." With that, she left their home. Returning to her new life, Ashley dedicated herself to her business. She used her past suffering as fuel for personal growth and continued her efforts. Her business increasingly succeeded, allowing her to lead a stable and secure life, both financially and emotionally. Meanwhile, Ashley's in-laws and Ryan, having completely lost contact with her, watched her success from afar. While regretting their actions, they found a glimmer of hope in Ashley's progress, which also brought new insights to their lives. Ashley had overcome her past pains and successfully carved out a new life. She continued to work hard to build her future, achieving results that made her proud. Her life continued, supported by her strong will and determination. Ashley, now fully focused on her business, continued to achieve success. She overcame many challenges in the process. But she still harbored some resentment towards her in-laws and Ryan. As Ashley's in-laws and Ryan faced even harsher conditions after severing ties with her, they struggled with debt repayment and their basic living expenses after the bankruptcy of the father-in-law's company. Despite their efforts, they increasingly found themselves cornered. Diane, unable to let go of her resentment towards Ashley, continued to take a harsh stance towards Ryan. Ryan, trying to meet his mother's expectations, worked incessantly but made little progress in repaying their debts, reaching his physical and mental limits. One day, the father-in-law collapsed suddenly and was rushed to the hospital, suffering from exhaustion and stress. In the hospital, Diane, while caring for her husband, began to deeply regret their actions towards Ashley and felt a strong desire to apologize. She realized just how much they had hurt Ashley and regretted their past misdeeds. Ryan, reflecting on his actions due to his father's illness, decided to write a letter of apology to Ashley and send it. The letter acknowledged their mistakes and expressed deep remorse. Ryan sent the letter, hoping Ashley would accept it. Ashley received the letter from Ryan and read it. Touched by his sincere words, she decided to accept his apology. She wrote back, expressing her feelings, "I forgive the past. But please, value your own life from now on." Ashley's in-laws and Ryan received her response and were grateful that she had forgiven them. They let go of their resentment and began efforts to start a new life. The father-in-law recovered, and the family supported each other to rebuild their lives. Ashley, too, was able to enjoy her new life, having overcome her past with her in-laws and Ryan. She further developed her business, becoming a respected figure. Her life was filled with success and fulfillment, and she took pride in having built her future with her own strength. Ashley's new life was going smoothly, and her business was increasingly successful. She took pride in the career she had built on her own and felt a daily sense of fulfillment. Having overcome her difficult past, Ashley had begun to walk the path of her new self. Reflecting on her past, Ashley realized how much she had grown. She was grateful that her challenging experiences with her in-laws, Diane and Ryan, had made her stronger. Ashley set new goals for her future and was determined to pursue them with all her might. Ashley decided to take on new projects to further develop her business. She continued to collaborate with many people, striving to realize her vision. Ashley's leadership and passion influenced many, and her presence always brought a positive energy to those around her. At the same time, Ashley did not forget to enrich her personal life. She cherished her time with friends and family, and by enjoying her hobbies and relaxation, she led a balanced life. Having overcome her past suffering, Ashley could now feel her current happiness even more profoundly. One day, Ashley held a party with her colleagues to celebrate the opening of her new office. Many people gathered at the office to congratulate Ashley on her success. She spoke with everyone with a smile, grateful that her efforts had paid off. At the end of the party, Ashley had a moment to talk with her father, George. He was proud of Ashley's growth and success, and moved by how she had carved out her future with her own strength. "Ashley, you have truly become strong. I want you to continue following the path you believe in," George said kindly. Ashley thanked her father for his words and renewed her determination for the future. She took pride in the career and life she had built with her own efforts, and vowed to continue being an influential figure to many. Ashley's life will continue. She will carve out her future with her own strength and continue to face new challenges. Having overcome her difficult past, Ashley had the strength and determination to face any adversity. Her future held endless possibilities, and her every step was filled with the brilliance that everyone envied. Ashley's fresh start not only transformed her own life but also gave hope and courage to those around her. Her story taught the importance of overcoming difficulties and forging one's future with one's own efforts. Ashley will continue to be an inspiration to many.